Hi kids, it's Mr. Heidegwich. We are going to look at our grammar minutes packet. It should look like this. It should be in your green tab of your folder. All I want you to do is take it out carefully and open it to page 1 where you'll see minute 1. And just like anything else, the first thing I'm going to have you do is just write your name on the top of the paper. If there's no place for a date, you don't need to worry about writing the date. So just your name will be fine. You can see I have my name at the top, and I'm going to go ahead and read the directions. It says, write C if the sentence is complete, or I if it is incomplete. And then it says hint. Remember that a complete sentence is a group of words that tells a complete thought. I'm going to add a little bit more to that hint and definition. I'm going to tell you that a complete sentence, has two parts. The first part of a sentence is called the subject, which I'm going to highlight in pink. And the subject is what the sentence or who the sentence is talking about. And the other part of a sentence that's important, that makes it a complete sentence, is called the predicate. And the predicate talks about what the subject is doing. So usually there's a verb in there, an action word, but I'm not sure if that's 100% true all the time. So what you need to know is the subject is who or what, and the predicate is what specifically who or what is doing. It's talking about the subject. So let's take a look at the sentences below, and we'll identify if there's subjects or predicates, or if they're both, and then we'll use that information to decide if we should write C for complete sentence or I for incomplete sentence. My first sentence says, the juggler's at the county fair. And that's an incomplete sentence because it only tells me who. It only tells me the subject. So I highlighted jugglers in pink. Now, if you don't highlight, that's okay. You just need to know that it tells me the subject, but it doesn't tell me what they're doing. What they're doing would go over here, and that part's blank. So this sentence is I for incomplete. The next sentence says, you should stretch before you exercise. Well, this one, when I look at it, has a subject. It says you. You would be the subject of that sentence. And then it tells you what you should be doing. You should stretch before you exercise. So it gives you both parts. So this sentence would be a complete sentence because it has a subject, you, and it has a predicate, or the rest of the sentence should stretch before you exercise. Number 3, the train ride from Washington, D.C. Well, that tells me that the person or the sentence is talking about the train ride, and it tells me specifically where it's from, but it doesn't really tell me anything else. So the train ride from Washington, D.C. was great. The train ride from Washington, D.C. is fun. The train ride from Washington, D.C. is something. This sentence is missing something. It gives me what it's talking about, but it doesn't tell me anything about it. It only gives me part of it. So this sentence would be an incomplete sentence. And to be quite honest, I'm just going to double check that because sometimes, like anything else, I make mistakes, and I will tell you grammar is not my strongest subject, and that's okay. So give me a second while I double check to make sure my answer is correct. So I did find the answer, and it is incomplete, and I believe it's incomplete for the same reasons I told you. So what I'm going to have you do now is I just want you to go through the rest of the problems, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then what I will do in a second, so pause the video, and then in a second I will go through and highlight and then write the answers in, and at the very end, when you're all done, you can just hit play, and that way you can check your work to make sure you're right. And I will include explanations with the answers too. So if you got it wrong, you can kind of check and compare and see what went wrong in your brain or your thought processes that led you to the wrong answer. Please pause your video now and then go ahead and restart it when you're all done. Number 4, the lazy dog. Again, this sentence only tells me the subject. It does tell me an adjective, it does give me a describing word about the dog, but it doesn't tell me what the dog is doing or what the dog is thinking. So this sentence is incomplete because it only gives me a subject. Number 5, the bee flew from the flower. Well, this sentence gives me a subject, the bee, and it gives me that identifying verb. It tells me what the bee was doing. The bee flew from the flower. So this sentence is complete because it has both the subject and the predicate, and this word flew links them together. That's the verb that we're talking about, the action word. So this sentence is complete. Number 6, my favorite story is Hansel and Gretel. Well, this one is maybe not as easily identified. It does tell you the subject, and the subject in this sentence is really, I believe, my. Okay, because you're talking about yourself, or that person is talking about his or herself. And then what is she referring to? Well, she's referring to her favorite story is Hansel and Gretel. And this one, like I said, it gets a little bit tricky. And I'm not sure I'm going to explain this completely right. So if you're a parent listening, just bear with me. I believe is that verb that links them together. So I'm going to go back a little bit, and this is where I would question it. The subject is either my or it's my favorite story. Okay, it could be one or the other, but either way, the point is this part is the subject and this part is the predicate, which makes this sentence a complete sentence, because it, again, if you go back up to the top, it is a complete thought. Number 7, the animals in the Arctic. Well, this one doesn't tell me anything about what the animals are doing. It just tells me that I'm talking about animals, and it tells me where they are, but it doesn't tell me what they're doing. So this sentence, number 7, is incomplete. If it had more to it, the animals in the Arctic are white, that would be a complete thought. But this one is missing that predicate, which would go here. Now I'm going to note, just if you're continuing to watch this, that the predicate, I don't believe, and again, this is where videos, I struggle with the video part of this, I don't believe a predicate has to come after a sentence, but after a subject, but most of the time it does. I better pull my camera up here so you can see. So again, my subject is the animals in the Arctic, and then my predicate would go here, but since I don't have one, it's not there, that sentence is incomplete. Number 8, Jenny bought purple gloves for winter. Number 8 does tell me who I'm talking about. It tells me that I'm talking about Jenny. That's my subject. It does give me that verb. What did Jenny do? Well, Jenny bought. And it does finish that sentence too. What did she buy? Purple gloves for winter. So I have everything I need. I have my subject, I have my verb, and I have my predicate. So this is a complete sentence. Number 9, Regina paints pictures of animals. Well, this sentence has my subject, Regina. It does tell me what Regina is doing because it says she paints, and it does finish that thought and tell me what she's painting. So my subject is Regina, and my predicate is paints pictures of animals. And there together is my complete thought. And again, I'm sorry, I forgot to raise my camera, so I'm just going to shift this down right now so I don't forget again. But I'm going to show you, like I tried to show you before, Regina is the subject, paints is the verb that ties the subject and the predicate together, and pictures of animals is the rest of my thought. So Regina paints pictures of animals is a complete thought, so it is a complete sentence. Number 10, my house during the storm. Well, this sentence tells me what I'm talking about, my house, but it doesn't give me a verb. During is not an action word. During more identifies the setting or what time this is taking place. So it says my house during the storm. Well, that tells me the where, and it really tells me the when, but it doesn't tell me the what. And that's what the predicate does. It tells you what is happening in that sentence. So this sentence would be incomplete because it's missing the what. The what is the predicate. My house during the storm fell apart. My house during the storm stood tall and didn't crumble. My house during the storm turned pink. Whatever the case is, it has to have that verb in there, and it has to tell you what the house did to be a complete thought. Thanks for listening, kids. Please move on to your next job. Have a great day. Bye.